In this strategy tube, we will be looking at the Reading Mastery Program as an instructional strategy for language and reading development in students. To better connect concepts, we will also be presenting the strategy tube in the form of a case study. This is Ms. Martin's grade 3 class. Through this video, we will be observing how she utilizes reading mastery in her classroom to help her students. In this strategy tube, we will focus on a few key areas. We will be looking at what and whom this program is intended for, how it's used in the classroom, and how it impacts the students using it. So what is Reading Mastery? Reading Mastery is a direct instruction program. It is designed to foster reading using a systematic, structured, and highly teacher-guided approach. Teachers using Reading Mastery follow strict and scripted lesson plans that focus on specific texts and concepts. Reading Mastery is used as both a preventative measure in order to ensure that students meet the developmental milestones in language and reading for their age and grade, as well as being an intervention piece for students that may be at risk or currently have language difficulties.
Now we will move on to the 5 areas of development. Phonetic awareness. Students break down words into smaller sound units, focusing on high-frequency letters, sounds, and words. Decoding is another skill that utilizes elements of orthography as well as visual cues. Irregularities. Words that can't be decoded through phonetics need practice and repetition. Accuracy and fluency. Skill needed for reading text efficiently and accurately. Reading comprehension, learning how to answer and ask questions when reading, making appropriate and relevant inferences and predictions, and the emphasis on learning new vocabulary and understanding literal meanings. Now we will move on to student profiles. Primarily developed for K to 6, but can be used for younger students. It's beneficial for all students of all different abilities, particularly those at risk and those unable to respond to other programs. Particularly useful for those of minority status, ELLs, or those from low SES. Reading Mastery is not an effective tool for students with learning disabilities. The rigid structure of the program leaves little room for accommodations and modifications that learners with disabilities need.
Now let's take a look at what reading mastery looks like in a classroom. Although the reading program may be used for the class as a whole, it is most effective when implemented on small groups. The class itself may be divided into smaller groups with the aid of reading placement tests. As a result, the groups will then be composed of students with similar reading levels. The placement tests are divided into 3 parts. As per the following scenario, the first part focuses on word identification. The second part looks at fluency and accuracy. And the last part looks at reading comprehension. Here's an overview of steps a teacher needs to follow when working with groups instead of individual students. The Reading Mastery program is extremely restrictive when it comes to delivering a lesson. Positive reinforcement and planned correction techniques are key components of those lessons. Here is an example of a scripted lesson plan. It is believed that any changes in the lesson plan will affect the results in a negative manner. Therefore, such changes are openly discouraged. Regular assessment tests are conducted in order to track the child's progress.
We will now examine the effectiveness of reading mastery by looking at some academic resources. Research has shown that reading mastery is beneficial for children who are learning to read or are at risk for and or have language difficulties. Reading mastery is also effective in increasing development and achievement in basic reading skills, as demonstrated by the 5 skills of development. Relative to other programs, the direct instruction approach of reading mastery is also more effective in improving student reading performances. According to comparison studies looking at instructional strategies for language, 67% favored the use of reading mastery and DISTAR reading. Despite the evidence supporting reading mastery, this particular instructional strategy has also been proven to be of little benefit to students. There have been no observed gains in comprehension and understanding of text through reading mastery. Moreover, much of the evidence favoring reading mastery is not statistically significant. For example, there was only a 0.25% increase in student ability for fluency. Lastly, no external studies seem to meet the high standards and proclaimed outstanding results as presented by the Reading Mastery program.